Turn the lights back on. Wow. Retro electro tech. When real audio ruled the world.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen of Vintage Audio Persuasion. I am Retro Ernest of Retro Electro Tech, and here we are in part 3 as I get more into the nitty-gritty on this Marantz 4300 receiver. So, as I continue forward with both barrels blazing, I want to first touch on the importance of working a bit more methodically and keeping the disassembly and reassembly process well organized. You know, working in a organized and efficient manner is a tremendous part of the repair and restoration process that seems to take the back seat to, well, the actual repair and restoration process. But the fact of the matter is, you can't have one without the other, so that's why I bring this up from time to time. In fact, you know, to me, one of the big pluses a new guy or gal can bring to the table in a real working shop environment is this stuff. Because, you know, good habits like this that prevent unneeded frustration, that promote efficiency, and just make life a bit easier are a real godsend. All the theory, all the techie stuff is great, but this is right up there as far as magnitude of importance when you put all of it together. So I've disassembled the front of this unit to, of course, gain access to, you know, all the controls so that I can perform proper and thorough servicing of them. And as part of that process, as you can see, I categorize the miscellaneous screws of different sizes, nuts of different sizes, and so forth. Okay, on equipment, that is a lot more straightforward. You know, just a few controls, a couple screws, not a big deal. I wouldn't even categorize them as far as, you know, tagging the bag and, you know, writing a description on the bag, a brief description of what it, you know, what it's for. I would probably just grab a handful of knobs, throw them in a bag, a few screws, another bag, set them off to the side. It's evident where they go. With this one, it's a little bit different because you have different size nuts for the potentiometers versus the selector switches. Different size screws for the various switches that mount to the control panel, the front chassis plate here. And I want to kind of keep things categorized in that situation so that on the reverse, I'm not sitting there doing that trial and error thing. Sure, I could figure it out in the end. Well, this screw doesn't go here. I think it fits over here. And I would eventually get to it. But I don't want to take that approach. I want to work in an organized and efficient manner. That's really all it comes down to. Not a big deal. Some people might say, well, doesn't that take a while to do? No. When I'm disassembling things, I have my you know, my baggies off to the side, my Sharpie off to the side, and I just jot it down real quick, and I'm off to the races. Same with all, you know, again, with all the screws and nuts of different sizes, I just jot down a quick note, you know, what unit it goes to, just in case a baggie or something gets separated from the herd, which typically doesn't happen in the shop because of the fact that, again, I stay organized, but I just do that just in case. And there you go. When it comes time to, you know, work in reverse, I'm going through it a lot more efficiently. Okay, a lot quicker. And then one thing I want to point out too is that after I disassemble a piece of equipment and I've got all these baggies all over the place, I take them and deposit them into one central bag that has the make and model and the customer's name on it, and then I seal it all up, and everything is deposited into one central bag that stays with the equipment. Okay, and as I said in the beginning, I am truly in the thick of it. I'm just going to pan up and down here, starting at the top of the unit, work my way down. Now that the dial face and the you know, the chassis faceplate there is removed, you can see everything is just kind of dangling in the wind. Okay, it's organized chaos, but it's all good because this is what needs to be done for me to gain access to the controls on this unit, to properly service them in terms of a flush style of cleaning where I'm really going in and flushing out the controls and then reintroducing the appropriate lubricant, like I've said a million times before in these type of videos where I'm servicing controls, which with this type of equipment, this era of equipment, unless it's had professional servicing of the controls done in more recent times, all of this should be done to this equipment. Okay, and as far as the tone pots are concerned here, I'm going to be desoldering these from the circuit board because I want to be able to position these controls in such a way that I can properly flush them out and then reintroduce lubricant efficiently. Because the ports are facing the circuit board, it's a little harder for me to get in there with the straw and the contact cleaner. I could, but not as good as if I just had the pots in my hand and just kind of maneuvering them around, spraying them out, letting them drain, and then when the time comes I could distribute the lubricant inside the openings of these different sections of each control. I could distribute the lubricant, work the shaft, move them around, get everything just done a little bit more thorough as far as a flush type of cleaning is concerned. And some of these pots, like, you know, this one up here, because it's not attached to a circuit board, I can access the ports, no problem, kind of maneuver it around, shoot contact cleaner up in there, work the control, get the lubricant in there without having to, you know, of course, detach it from all the wiring. That would not be fun anyways. And then I got the different switches up here that I have to service. I'll get a little bit more into that later because these are sealed switches, and I have to take a different approach that I'll talk about a little later on. And then we have our balance faders here, okay, which are very easy to get to. Openings on the top, flush them out thoroughly, work them, and then reintroduce either a little smear of fader lube or maybe a smear of some fader grease in there, whatever I decide, not a problem. And so forth and so on. You know, work my way down. I've got a lot of controls, a lot of different you know, switches that I need to work with. And the switches that I'm mostly concerned about on this unit, again, are the speaker switches and this high pass filter that were acting intermittently that I pointed out before. So I really want to get into those, and also to let me actually reposition the camera. So I wanted to point out something about these headphone jacks here. When they were mounted to the face, to the panel, and I attempted to remove the nuts so that I could remove them and remove the panel, the nuts are on here so extremely tight and arranged in such a way that when I placed the socket on the nuts and started to, or at least attempt to loosen them, I felt what I thought was the nut turning. And it turns out that they're seized on there so tight that the entire jack internally was spinning. So the jacks are now done, okay? The good thing is I found a replacement, so fortunate there. Now, why they were mounted on here so tight, I do not know. I don't know if the Japanese Incredible Hulk at the factory tightened them on, but these things should come off. And like I said, it felt like they were loosening, but it was the entire jack internally that had busted loose and started spinning. So it is what it is. There was nothing I could do about that. It absolutely had to come off because I had to get the face off to service these controls. So anyways, it is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. Okay guys, before I close out this video, I just want to mention that now that I'm in the stage that I'm in, I'll get through it as fast as I can, as fast as, you know, flushing out controls and reintroducing lubricant can be. And so it just takes time, in other words. Now, I'm not going to do that on camera because I've done that so many times, and I just kind of want to get to it here. I don't want anything to slow me down after this point here, after this video. Maybe when I get into the reassembly phase, I'll kind of hone in on that and go into a little bit in regard to reassembly and my process, especially since I explained the whole the whole process of categorizing parts and all that. I'll kind of show you, you know, what's involved in going into the reassembly phase of things. But yeah, I just want to get this done, get this relamped here. I will mention real quick before I hang this up that I am going to replace this piece of vellum here, which is just a piece of diffusion material. You can see it's discolored from just age and, you know, the heat from the bulbs. I'm going to, you know, replace that when I reinstall the, you know, the dial plate here. So just bring that up. Otherwise, guys, when I'm done with this and I get this all reassembled, I have to go around back. I'll do a video on that when I'm installing the antenna, so forth and so on. But I'm going to cut it here anyways and just say what I always say: peace, love, music, and the vintage audio that brings it to your ears. Till next time, you all take care of yourselves.
This is a poor man's shoe production.